Hi everyone, I'm Anne-Marie from brambleberry.com, and today I am here to do a little bit of an instructional video on coloring your soap with natural colorants. Now, I have been a huge fan of natural colorants ever since I wrote Pure Soap Making, which was really about using all natural products. Back then, I really got into using herbs and botanicals and clays to come up with ways to color your soap naturally. Now, why would you want to color your soap naturally? Lots of reasons. One, natural products are generally gotten from the earth, meaning they are herbs, they are clays, they are roots, they've been ground up. So that means they are generally more sustainable for the planet. Another reason is for marketing reasons, of course. You probably have customers that want all natural products. And so if they want all natural products, this is the best way to get a naturally derived color in your cold process soap. In today's video, we're going to go over 10 of the most kind of popular natural colorants. I'm going to show you how to dilute them to make sure that they disperse fully. And we're also going to make soap right on camera for you so you can see how to work with natural colorants, the tips and tricks, and learn about some of the drawbacks or some of the things you really have to take into account when making soap with natural colorants. This is rose clay. Rose clay is a type of kaolin clay, and it's naturally colored by the iron oxides that are present with the clay when it is mined. Rose clay is a clay that can also be used in facial masks to help with kind of oily skin or bacteria-prone skin, acne-prone skin. It has a tiny little bit of exfoliation, and in cold process soap it can also accelerate trace. So that's why diluting this with a little bit of oil or a little bit of water is really important before adding it at thin trace. Sea clay is exactly what you think it is. It is literally mud from the bottom of the sea that has been pulled up, dried, purified, and then made ready for you to use in soaps or cosmetics. It's commonly used in facial masks for a little bit of grit, a little bit of exfoliation, and it's also used for any acne-prone skin or oily skin. In soap, because it is essentially a clay, you do want to dilute it just a little bit with water or oil, which we'll show you later how to do to make sure it doesn't accelerate trace and ruin any great designs you have. Madder root is a colorant that's been used literally for centuries to produce a red. It's used in everything from like dyeing garments to making food more bright, or in this case, making a lovely red colorant in your soap. Because it is a slightly larger grain, you end up with more distinct spots in your soap. It is really important with madder root that you force gel phase. If you don't, you end up with a much more dull color, which is totally fine because it's soap, but maybe isn't what you're looking for. Our next natural colorant is Alkanet root powder. An Alkanet root actually, yes, comes from a root. The flowers up on top are blue, but when the root is ground up, it makes this beautiful kind of dark red, moody maroon that in soap, when it mixes with the high pH of cold process soap, turns much more purpley, dark navy blue. Now, Alkanet root is one that you definitely need to gel phase if you want to even get close to this dark, moody blue / purple. Our next colorant also can double as an exfoliant. Orange peel powder is exactly what it sounds like. It is literally the dried up orange peels that have been dehydrated in a cosmetic grade facility and then ground up and irradiated so it won't mold in your soap. Orange peel powder is 100% natural. It creates a wonderful orange colorant in soap, provides a gentle exfoliation, and so sometimes you might see orange peel powder in, say, a gentle facial cleanser as well. Now, you've probably heard of turmeric as a supplement. Many people take it as an anti-inflammatory. But did you know it also makes a fantastic colorant? That's right, it stains everything it touches. So keep that in mind when you're working with it with your soap making. This is turmeric, and I wanted to show you that when you use it at one usage rate, it is a beautiful orange, but when you use it at more, it doesn't get more orange, it just gets a little more brown. So keep that in mind when you are working with turmeric. You just add it directly into your soap with your dispersion, stir it, and the color you see is pretty much the color you get. Gel phase really does help when working with turmeric. Spinach powder, not just for eating, also not just for dyeing your homemade pasta. You can use it to dye your homemade soap. Spinach powder is a slightly kind of grainy powder because it's dried spinach leaves that have been ground up and irradiated so that they don't grow mold or grow spinach in your shower. You add it in at thin trace, and like every single natural colorant, you really want to force your gel phase. To get the perfect black in cold process soap, you can use a black iron oxide or you can use activated charcoal. So activated charcoal is exactly what you think it is. It is burned up pieces of wood that have been ground up and then purified so that they are skin safe and of course soap safe. It is lighter than air. That means when you open your jar, for example, little bits of the black can come whooshing out. It also really creates an intense color. So when you're working with activated charcoal, take extra time, extra care. When you're done spooning it out, cap this, because an activated charcoal spill is like the bane of any soap maker's existence. This beautiful blue hue is achieved by indigo. Now, indigo is one of the oldest dyes known to man. It right now is very commonly used to make jeans. So like the jeans you wear. And in this case, we are using natural indigo powder to make our cold process soap this beautiful color. It likes to go through gel phase, and definitely dilute it with a little bit of oil or a little bit of water before adding it into your cold process. Our final colorant is Annatto Seeds. So Annatto Seeds are really interesting because they are literally little tiny seeds, and they are used to color all kinds of food products. So ice cream, cheese, you name it. And here we use it for soap. But with Annatto Seeds, we do an infusion. So this is an infusion that has been infusing for over a month to get this bright color. In cold process soap, it creates a beautiful butter yellow all the way to a very dark orange, depending on how much usage rate you do. Some soap makers actually like to replace part of the oil in their recipe with this infusion to get the most bright soap. First things first, we need to disperse our natural colorants. And this is because, one, that makes them a lot less clumpy when you're actually soaping with them. And also it helps with any of the clays. The clays tend to absorb water, so they can be a little bit accelerating for your trace. So what we're gonna do is just do a 1 teaspoon dispersion in 1 tablespoon of lightweight oil. And so it's a teaspoon of colorant, 1 tablespoon of any lightweight oil you choose. And then I just use the Brambleberry mini mixer to mix these up, going from lightest color to darkest color. Now that these are all mixed up, it's time to suit up for safety because we only get 1 set of eyes. So make sure kids and pets are in another room. You've got at least 45 minutes to soap. You are in a well-ventilated area. Long sleeves, long pants, and then gloves, goggles. So this is a Brambleberry quick mix, which is designed to make it easy for you to have a great batch of soap every single time. I am working with a 5% super fat rate here. I'm gonna go for a pretty thin trace here because I need to split this into 5 different colorant batches. And now I'm gonna separate into 5 different easy pour containers. And I'm gonna do roughly 8 ounces in each of these containers. So I'm just gonna eyeball this, and if I notice that the soap is at all giving me any trouble, I will completely stop and re-stick blend. So you can kind of always look and watch and see, is this getting grainy on me? Do I need to be worried? Because right now it's starting to get just a little bit grainy. But I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna put my stick blender all the way to the bottom of this, give it a quick stick blend. First one is the rose clay. In the rose clay, we're going to put all of this mixture in. And I'm going to pour 1 bar here. And then I have another mold off camera that I will pour the rest of this into. Our next color is the sea clay, and we're going to go ahead and do a whole one for this one too. I love how this looks. What a nice gloomy green we have going on. Next is the madder root. I'm just going to make sure I'm getting enough of it in here. I'm just going to do 2 teaspoons of this dilution to get that nice, beautiful color. And remember, with natural colorants, what you see is not quite what you get. You actually end up with a little lighter product in the end. So if you're like, you get this and you're like, oh, that's the color I love, just know it'll get just a little bit lighter. And remember, there's little grains in here, so you'll see those in the final bar. I think they add to the really awesome texture look of the bar though. All right, next is our Alkanet root. And remember, Alkanet root looks really like a beautiful kind of burgundy in here, but the second it touches that high pH of that soap, it definitely turns more of a bluish purple. This is when you want the gel phase for sure. All right, our final one for this particular 5 batches of natural colorant before I move on to making the next batches is all of our orange peel. If I use my Alkanet stick blender, I think there's enough purple colorant on there to really change the look and feel of this. Ah, beautiful. I love this color palette already. All right, time to make my second batch of soap. Just like the last time, I'm just gonna get this to a nice thin trace. It's a nice thin trace, nicely emulsified. So the first one we're going to work with is turmeric. We're going to go with a full 2 teaspoons of this dilution. And I noticed the turmeric is sunk into the bottom of my oil, so I'm just going to give it a quick stir real quick. So I get my full 2 teaspoons. Okay. Ooh, that's bright. Turmeric, here we go. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Next one we're going to be working with is our spinach powder. Just going to dump all of that in. So here we go. And I did wipe off my stick blender, so that way that really, really, really strong turmeric would not affect my spinach powder. And next we have charcoal, and charcoal is by far one of our kind of most potent ones, so we're using a lot less. So for charcoal we're using 2 teaspoons, which is going to make a very dark black color. And then after that we'll have indigo, just about 2 teaspoons. That is a gorgeous blue. Definitely blue jean blue. And for our final one, which is our Annatto, we're doing a full tablespoon, so we're just going to do all of it. And I'm going to hand whisk this in really quick, and then I'm going to stick blend it to get a really good trace. And I'm going to put this right next to our turmeric so you can really see the difference in these yellow/oranges. Remember, this turmeric does end up fading out a little bit, so what you see is not what you get. So now all I need to do is spray this with 99% rubbing alcohol to help prevent soda ash and toss this on a heat pad that then I fully insulate to force gel phase. Thanks so much for watching today. If you got inspired by what you saw here, obviously check out my book. Brambleberry.com also has a ton of free recipes and projects in there featuring natural projects. And if you're interested in learning more about kind of natural colorants, Brambleberry.com also has a natural colorants sampler. So you can try all of these colors in small amounts to get just the right mix for your soap. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're hashtagging yourself BrambleOn on the socials, and comment below which is your favorite colorant or what's one that I forgot. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, everyone, happy soaping.